Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. Today we're going to do an unboxing from the folks at Australian Design Group. What we have here is Days of Decision 3, and this is what it sounds like, 1936 to 1946 global political conflict. This is a World in Flames game. Harry Rowland is in fact the designer of this, unless I am misremembering totally, and I don't think I am. I don't know if it says that on the box or not. It is an Australian product. They do have a way to get it to us here in the United States. So if you're afraid, and the dollar is very strong right now, which also helps. So I ordered it. They got it to me in a couple of days. It actually showed up when I was at Compass Expo. So we're disrupting the string of Compass unboxings to do Days of Decision 3. Now, you can play this in conjunction with World in Flames. And if you are interested in seeing that in action, then I encourage you to check out the Tabletop's Edge, who right now, and in fact, just a couple days ago, he released another video of a combined game of Days of Decision and World in Flames. So they do kind of stack together. That intersection is not seamless because Days of Decision 3 actually predates the current edition of World in Flames. So you do kind of have to massage it a little bit to get it to work, but you can absolutely get it to work. Now, when folks say World in Flames is a very sandboxy game and can go off the historical rails, that's true, but it is especially true if you play your World in Flames preceded by a game of Days of Decision, which might also alter the pre-war situation as well. So without, and we have a Roger McGowan cover here too, if you couldn't tell, and I suspect that you could. So let's take a look at Days of Decision 3. Now, I owned Days of Decision 2 back in the day. I dumped it when I dumped my whip stuff and then haven't reordered it until now. But here we are with a new Days of Decision. And you know, in the meantime, they did another edition of it. So, you know, standard size box, 2-inch box. What do we got in here? So a bunch of stuff. All right, so we have two 10-sided dice. Whiff uses 10-sided dice. We have multiple maps, actually. So let me move some stuff around here and see what I can show you. So there is a Days of Decision map. These are paper maps, and there's two of them. Well, one's kind of a map and one's kind of a display. And this shows the whole planet, basically. This tells you where all the resources are and all that stuff. And then there's kind of an inset for Europe, and then the rest of the world is at a different scale. That difference in scale makes no difference whatsoever here in Days of Decision. Obviously, it does in World in Flames. And then in addition to this, you have a second, more slightly smaller, actually, map, which contains the political status display. And the way this works is it's kind of the core countries, and you have three ideologies: democracy, fascism, and communism. And obviously the USSR starts in communism, and the USA starts in capitalism, and Germany and Italy start in fascism. And other countries can move around, and the majors generally won't, but the other countries can move around this display and become more democratic or more communist or whatever, and that is a function of play. And eventually you might be able to align those countries to yourself and take control of them and their loot. So, paper map number 1. We also get we get 5 counter sheets, a couple of which are identical. So we have major power, money, and control markers. And we get, looks like 3 of those. And then we get Army, Navy, and resource markers, and we get 2 of those. Now, I think I'll point out here that you can play all of World War II all the way to 1945 with just Days of Decision 3. You don't need to join it to World in Flames. I suspect that the vast majority of people who buy this, particularly the vast majority of people sufficiently motivated to order a copy from Australia, are in fact ordering it to use with World in Flames. That's why I got it, so I do not anticipate my opinion changing on that. I probably wouldn't play this without linking it to World in Flames. I would absolutely play World in Flames without Days of Decision, but having Days of Decision gives me a lot more options and things I can make that system do. Now, for each major power, you have an action card. And I kind of wish they would have done these as actual cards rather than on these player aid type cards. But so here's the Commonwealth. So you've got 9, and then the explanations on the back. For the Japanese, you've got 9, and then the explanations on the back. For the Russians, same deal. For the French, same deal. I think one of these powers has more than one. For the Italians, for the Chinese, for the Americans, and for the Germans. Now, Germans have extra options here, which makes sense because the Germans kind of setting a tempo for this whole thing, right? We do have a rule book, which I got to tell you is thicker than the last rule book. This is a 68-page rule book, is what it looks like. It's going to have the setups in the back on a table that is possibly not the easiest imaginable thing to read. The inside is black and white on what I'd call a low gloss paper. Not satin, but low gloss. There are some illustrations. This is not an incredibly complicated game, but it is a World in Flames product after all. So if you're into it, want a really simple diplomatic game of the era before World War II, and possibly including World War II, maybe this isn't where you look. Maybe you look at something like Triumph and Tragedy instead. But I have finally re-added Days of Decision 3 to the WIF collection. I'm very happy to have done so. If you found this video useful or interesting, please do give it a thumbs up. Thank you, patrons, for helping to support Ardwulf's Lair. Without your assistance, it would be much more difficult to do this and any other type of content that we do around here. Thank you for watching. Until next time, happy wargaming.